Hey everybody. I have never been live in this group, so I'm a little nervous. I'm just going to check and make sure that I'm live because it cut me off last time. I am. Yay. So I'm here to give guidance to anybody who has anything that they want to talk about that I can help with. There might be some things that I can't. So if you're finding this, feel free to pop in the comments and say hi. And if you have something that you could use some guidance on, I'll be more than happy to help. I wanted to share a quick story with you about something that happened yesterday, and it gave me a pretty cool realization. I have 3 children. My oldest is 20 years old. Hi, Lorene. She's 20 years old, and she is about an hour and a half away from me. I live in a very small town on the coast of North Carolina, and we have spent most of our life living in San Diego. So when she moved out here, it was a very big transition for a city girl who's, at the time she was 19. But what you don't know is my daughter has suffered with severe, and this is a very personal story, so severe anxiety and depression, like really bad depression. And she's also bipolar. And so I've struggled with getting her help her whole life. Therapist after therapist, whatever I could do, like nothing seemed to work. Medicine didn't work. It was always a struggle. And she was a cutter for a long time because she just wanted to relieve the pain that she was inside. And most of my life, I always lived it by how I thought I was supposed to live. I was supposed to have the big house. I was supposed to have the big career. I was supposed to have the awesome family. I was supposed to have the house with the pool and be the cool mom and have all these things. And I was really good at achieving them. Like I achieved everything that I ever wanted. I had the high paying career. I was the big shot. I married a man that had a good career. I had awesome kids. I had a huge house. I had all these things. But I was never happy. Like I was always looking for the next best thing. I was always looking for the next thing that was going to make me happy because I thought that's what I needed. I needed all those outside sources. So all this time, all I've been showing my children is that I wasn't being myself. I was always comparing myself to other people. I was always judging myself against others of how I think I should look or how I should be, being the person that everybody wanted me to be. And never really stepping into the truth of who I was. It took me going through a very traumatic year of my life to really, like, literally, drop me to my knees, wake me up, and like, this is not how you need to live anymore. So yes, I'm getting to the story about my daughter, but yesterday, okay, well, let me step back again. A year and a half ago, I decided to step into the role of a coach. And it wasn't necessarily for any other reason as in I felt called that I needed to start being somebody else. I needed to start helping others. I needed to start exploring my spirituality more. And I needed to it was something about it. And it evolved over time because I didn't know exactly what it looked like or there was no like end goal in mind, right? Like some people want to be this high-powered executive and make it to CEO or start their own or whatever. There was no end game. It was just kind of moving along and it was evolving as it went. During this process, I have completely opened up my spirituality and gone back to when I was younger, what I believed in and what I felt called to do and how I felt and just really started to practice that and get help and guidance of my own to open it up, to live more in that place. And it's amazing, by the way. But in this process of doing this, the coolest thing happened. Yesterday, my daughter comes over and she's 20 years old. I don't see her very often anymore. She comes in my office and I'm working away and I stop and I look at her and we're talking and she says, "I've been watching your videos." It took a minute to register because I was like, "You did what? You're doing what?" She's been following me without me knowing it. She's been watching my videos that I put out. She's been following all my inspirational messages. And she's been doing all this stuff that I help other women to do and that I put out there in the world to just be that bright light And that's what's been changing her. That's what's been healing her. That's what's been evolving her. She's not taking her medicine anymore. She's not living in a place where she's cutting herself anymore. This past year, she's very much come into her own skin. She's not comparing herself to all these other girls like she used to be. She's not living in that place of, I need to be, I have to be, I want to be because of this. She's just naturally being herself and being okay with it. And I wasn't quite sure what was the catalyst for that. I wasn't quite sure what made her transition into that. But hearing her talk about what I was sharing and using some of the language that I use inside, I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I'm like doing this happy dance because I was like, if I never do anything else in this world, if I never do anything else, if I can be the bright light for my children, if I can be that freaking lighthouse that lights this gigantic path that leads them down a better road, that allows them to come into their skin earlier, that allows them to feel more comfortable in themselves and go where they want to go, not because they feel like that society tells them they need to do these things, then I can die a happy woman. Because that is the mission of being the lighthouse, to doing this work. I could have a $200,000 a year career right now, but it wouldn't make me happy. I would just have more money. So I don't do this work. Yes, I have to pay my bills. We all have to pay our bills, but I don't do this work for the wanting to get rich. I do this work because it feels so good, right? It feels so good to help others and to be in that space of holding space for somebody else. And the same thing happened with one of my sons. He's 10 and he went through this whole transition of his father walking out and being adopted and trying to find his own way, and nothing helped. The same thing. Anger management didn't help. Therapists didn't help. But what's helped him is watching me figure out my path and not go to that place of where, I'm quickly coming back. I come back a lot faster than I used to be. I don't live in that negative world. And my language has changed, which has changed his language. My behavior has changed. So it's changed his behavior. And it's those funny little things that happen where you're like, this ripple effect is freaking amazing. Being the lighthouse is freaking amazing, because that's what it does. And I've had several clients tell me that by the guidance that I've given them to help them, it's helped their children, which of course we all know, if you're a mom, if your children's behavior changes, it usually takes a load off of you, right? So just being that lighthouse, just working on ourselves as women, or even the men, working on ourselves and being the best version of us in the truest form and shining bright and just being that beacon changes so much more than you will ever know. There's so many people you reach and you don't even realize it. I hadn't even realized that I had done was helping my daughter because I wasn't pushing it on her, which is typical me. I spend my whole life and there's a woman on here now that has seen it happen. That we still come into it. There's still times when it happens where we start to push and manipulate and try to control and make things happen. And if you're not paying attention to that happening, it's going to show up, and it showed up big time for me. And these lessons that come up just allow me to come back to that place of being in the moment and being happy and not pushing so much faster than I ever was before. I'm so glad I came online and saw that you were live. I decided to come on. Well done. Oh, thank you. And I just want to be here to say that, no matter what you're doing in life, just truly don't judge yourself on what others are doing. We live in an industry now where there's a ton of coaches online, and we need more people to be light workers, but there's a lot of people pushing and manipulating and saying, I can make you 5 figures in a month, or I can make you this big person or whatever. And you see these people doing so well, But that doesn't mean that that's what's meant for you. That doesn't mean that you're not going to do well. There's no reason to compare yourself to where they are, because you don't know where they came from. You don't see their bumpy path. We all have one, and we have to go through that so that we become better teachers, so we become better coaches, we become better whatever it is that we are meant to do in this world. Whatever it is that you feel called to do, you can still do it with a light. You can still do it in your truest form, right? You can still be that person to lead the way for others. And so that was my message that I wanted to share today. And I wanted to see if there was anybody who needs a little bit of inspiration today, who needs a little bit of guidance, that maybe is too afraid to reach out to somebody or whatever. So if you feel that, if you see this and you have a question, if you need some help, please comment. And I will check in throughout the day and reach out to you in the comment thread or private message or whatever, and just be simply of service, just, for the day, and see what comes up, what you need, if you need anything. Because we all need a hand up every now and then, and I've had my fair share of them. And I want to be the lighthouse for as many people as I possibly can. So thank you for allowing me to be on today. It was super nerve-wracking at first because I've never been on this live here. But I love all of you guys and all your messages that you share in the group. It's a really awesome place. And I hope you guys all have a great day. Talk soon.